I thought it was a good idea to let my wife meet with her ex. I should have listened to my gut the moment she said his name. You know that strange, hollow feeling in your stomach when something doesn't feel right, but you can't quite explain why. That was me, sitting at our kitchen table sipping my coffee, when my wife casually said, "Oh, guess who reached out to me yesterday, Mark? My name's Jason Miller. I'm 25 years old, and I work as a junior architect at a small but growing design firm in Portland. I'm not rich, not famous, not some big-shot entrepreneur. I'm just a regular guy who likes hiking on weekends, cooking pasta from scratch, and binge-watching old sitcoms when I'm too tired to do anything else. Until a few months ago, I thought I had life figured out, at least the parts that really mattered. I'm going to tell you a story that I wish wasn't mine. But my story didn't end with just betrayal. It ended with the kind of poetic justice you don't usually see outside of movies. For most of my adult life, I thought I was the luckiest guy in the world. Her name was Emily. We met in college. She was the girl who lit up every room she walked into. Not just because she was beautiful, but because she was good. At least, that's what I believed. She had this way of making you feel like you were the most important person in the world when she talked to you. And then there was Mark, my best friend since high school. We'd been through everything together: teenage stupidity, heartbreaks, dead-end jobs, and eventually, success. Mark was that guy everyone liked instantly. Confident, charming, funny. He and Emily clicked right away, but in my head, that was a good thing. My girlfriend and my best friend getting along? What could be better? By our late 20s, Emily and I were living together, and I was ready to take the next step. I proposed in the middle of a weekend trip to the mountains. Nothing extravagant, just us, a sunset, and a bottle of wine. She cried and said yes, and it was the happiest moment of my life. Mark was the first person I called. He screamed into the phone like he had just gotten engaged. Looking back, I wonder how much of that was excitement and how much was something else entirely. The little things I ignored. In the months after we got engaged, we started planning the wedding. Emily wanted something classy but intimate. Mark, of course, was helping me with the groom's side of things. He was even one of my groomsmen. We'd hang out, the three of us, going over plans, laughing, sharing drinks. But little things started to bother me. Sometimes I'd walk into the room and find them texting, and when they saw me, they'd suddenly stop. Emily would laugh at Mark's jokes a little too much. They'd accidentally end up next to each other on the couch, knees touching. Harmless, right? That's what I told myself. After all, they were my two favorite people in the world. Why would I suspect anything? Then there was the time Emily told me she was going to meet Sarah for coffee. I didn't think twice. Until later that day, I ran into Sarah at the grocery store. She mentioned she hadn't seen Emily in weeks. When I asked Emily about it, she brushed it off, said Sarah had to cancel last minute and she went alone. I wanted to believe her. So I did. The night it fell apart. 3 months before the wedding, Mark invited me over to his apartment for a guys' night. Emily was supposedly visiting her parents that weekend, so I figured why not. When I got there, Mark was acting weird, distracted, kept checking his phone. We had a couple of beers, played some video games, but his head wasn't in it. Then, about an hour in, he suddenly got a text, looked at it and said, "Hey, I've got to run out for a bit. Emergency. I'll be back soon." That in itself wasn't strange, but when he left, he forgot his phone on the counter. I don't know why I did it. Maybe it was the months of little lies I'd ignored. Maybe it was the fact that I had a couple of drinks in me. But I picked up his phone, and there it was, a string of messages from Emily. The most recent one read, "I'm here. Come down." My stomach twisted. My first thought was denial. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe she was surprising me somehow. I decided to test it. I texted back, pretending to be Mark. "Be right there." Then I left his apartment and walked down the street. And that's when I saw them. Emily, my fiancée, my bride-to-be, standing under a street lamp, wearing the hoodie I'd bought her last Christmas. Mark walked up to her, and without a word, they kissed. Not a friendly kiss. A kiss. I didn't even remember walking away, I just left. My body went numb. I drove home, sat in my car for hours, staring at the steering wheel. The woman I loved and the man I trusted most had been lying to me, and they weren't even careful about it. The next morning I called Emily. I didn't mention what I saw, I just said, "How's your trip to your parents?" She lied, straight to my face. That's when I snapped. I told her I knew everything, told her I saw her with Mark. At first, she denied it, said I must have misunderstood. But when I told her I'd read the texts, she went silent. Then she started crying, saying she didn't know how it happened, that she loved me, but she had feelings for him too. Mark called me later, trying to explain. He said they'd only kissed a few times, that it wasn't serious. Like that was supposed to make me feel better. I ended the engagement that day, told both of them I never wanted to see them again, deleted their numbers, blocked them on everything. The secret that ruined them. I thought that was the end, that I'd just have to move on, heartbroken, but wiser. But life had other plans. About 6 months later, a mutual friend, Jake, called me. He said, "Man, you're not going to believe this. You know Emily and Mark are together now, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'd heard." "Well, Emily's been hiding something from him. Something big. Apparently, before she met me, Emily had a pretty wild past. Nothing wrong with that on its own, but part of that past included a short-lived marriage. And the reason it ended? She had cheated. Multiple times. The kicker? She never told Mark about it. I guess history repeats itself, because a few months into their relationship, she started doing the same thing to him. Only this time, she didn't even bother hiding it well. She had an affair with a co-worker, and Mark found out in the most humiliating way possible, by walking in on them. From what I heard, the breakup was explosive. Mark felt betrayed. Welcome to the club, buddy. Emily tried to win him back, but by then, her reputation had caught up to her. Most of their friends knew what she'd done, to both of us. She ended up moving to another city to start fresh. Looking back, when I first found out about Emily and Mark, I thought I'd never get over it. The pain was physical, like someone had punched a hole through my chest. But hearing how it all fell apart for them, I'm not going to lie, it felt like closure. I don't believe in karma in a mystical sense, but sometimes life has a way of balancing the scales. And if there's anything I learned from this, it's that trust is fragile. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. The first time. If you've made it this far, remember, sometimes losing someone is the best thing that can happen to you, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time.